Hello everyone, I'm Shripa Vimukti and I'll be conducting your data science lecture today. So today's lecture is all about introduction to data mining, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Let me share my screen and get started. So people who are not familiar with these three technologies, so these technologies are actually the applications and the technologies, they are rapidly changing today's world. For an instance, recently I think the usage of AI has been increased with the release of ChatGPT and Google Bard, for an example. So if you are not familiar with the first two terms, you might be familiar with the last one, AI. So these technologies, they have a profound impact in our lives. So no doubt we are using them in our day-to-day lives as well. So we learn about the technical aspect as well as the business aspect of these three technologies. Um, so today's lecture is all about introduction to data mining, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So in today's lecture, I'll give you a brief introduction of each of these technologies, and I'll also talk about how they are being used in real world applications and how these things have been used in our day-to-day lives as well. And I will be sharing some thoughts on how these three technologies are related together, how they are being used together. When it comes to data mining, our first topic, it is the process of extracting knowledge from data in simple words. And when it comes to machine learning, in simple words, it's the process that we develop algorithms so that the systems can learn from whatever the data that we provide and make predictions. So when it comes to AI, I think which is most of you are familiar. So AI has the ability to learn and then identify the reasons and solve problems on its own. So, in other words, they are like trained to mimic human intelligence. So, let's talk about our first topic, data mining. When it comes to data mining, as I explained earlier, data mining is the process of extracting knowledge from the data. So this knowledge can be used to make predictions, find patterns, and improve decision making as well. So I'll brief some of the applications of data mining first because that is the easiest way to identify what data mining is. The first thing is customer segmentation, which we segment customers into groups based on their shared characteristics. So this can be used to target marketing campaigns more efficiently and effectively for the companies. For an example, let's say a company might segment customers based on their purchasing history, or maybe their demographics, or maybe their online purchasing behavior. Likewise, so this information can then be used to create targeted marketing campaigns that are more likely to be success in the long run. So then another application is, the second one is product recommendation, which is also based on customers' purchasing and browsing history. So when we are searching Google or when we are browsing internet, so they are going to track our history, and then that can help customers to find products that they're interested in and they are going to likely to purchase. So for an example, let's say in Amazon or in, let's say, Facebook, you are going to search for a particular product. So what these systems do is, what Amazon or Facebook, what they do is they uses the data mining techniques to recommend products to us based on our purchase history or our browsing history. That's why we get similar products in our timelines frequently. Another example is risk assessment. So data mining is used to assess risk by identifying patterns that are indicative of risk. For an example, let's say when it comes to risk, what comes to my mind is banks. So for an example, a bank might use mining data to assess the risk of a customer defaulting on a loan. So this information can be used to make decisions to whether approving or reject the loan application. Likewise, so there are many different types of data mining applications. So you can simply do a small Google search and you will get a list. So we'll move on to the techniques part. That is the important thing. So there are so many different data mining techniques also. These things might be a little bit unfamiliar for you. So the most common ones included disassociation, role mining, clustering, and classification. So let's talk about each of these in detail. First, let's go to the first data mining technique, association rule mining. So when it comes to association rule mining, this technique is used to find patterns in data, right? So when our data occurs, there are patterns. So for an example, now let's say this example, can you see there's a table? So when it comes to this table, let's assume this is a table that we got from some sales details. So we have some customers and we have some items that these customers have bought. So just have a look, like first customer has bought bread and milk, second customer has bought bread, diapers, beers, and eggs likewise. So just have a look, the second, third, and fourth customers, they have both diapers and beers. They all have both diapers and beers. Can you see there's a frequently buying items. So both of these items are frequently bought together. Other than that, check the number 1, number 2, and number 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. So bread and milk are repeating, right? So that means most people tend to buy bread and milk together. So likewise, we can identify frequent items. So that is what association rule mining does. They are going to find patterns, relationships between products that are frequently purchased together. Moving on to the next slide. Next, we have clustering and classification. I'm describing both of these together because it's easier. So when it comes to clustering, this technique is used to group data points together based on their similarities. For an example, let's say you can group customers together based on their purchasing history. Right. Then we have classification. Classification technique is used to predict the class of a data point. So for an example, you might use classification to predict whether a customer is likely to churn or stop buying a particular product. All right. So that is clustering and classification. You can see these two graphs. You can see in the clustering one, the similar people, similar characteristics people are clustered together, grouped together likewise. So that is data mining techniques. Now let's move on to our next topic, our second topic, machine learning. When it comes to machine learning also, we'll talk about applications and machine learning techniques. When it comes to applications, first let's discuss what machine learning is all about. So machine learning is kind of a type of an artificial intelligence, AI, that allows machines to learn from data and make predictions, right? So machine learning algorithms, we use machine learning algorithms and we train our systems on a set of data and they learn to make predictions based on those patterns in the data. I think this description might not be familiar to you, so I'll explain everything in detail. So there are many different types of machine learning algorithms. So some of these algorithms include supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So we'll talk about these three in detail. Before that, I'll give you some examples of machine learning applications so that it is easier for you to understand what this is all about. So we can use machine learning techniques to do the spam filtering. In our emails, we have spam folders now. So spam filters are using machine learning algorithms to identify spams and then filter them. Then again, for NLP also, we are using machine learning. NLP means natural language processing. That means, have you seen in websites, they have chatbots and everything. So those are NLPs. So we use machine learning techniques and those things as well. Other than that, for image and speech recognition, for image recognition, for an example, face recognition, object detection, likewise, and for speech recognition, voice assistance, dictation softwares, and transcription services. We use machine learning. These are not the only examples. We have so many examples. You can simply do a search and you can identify other applications as well. I'll quickly go to the machine learning techniques because those things are a little bit tricky and those things are a little bit unfamiliar for you guys. So first let's talk about supervised learning. Supervised learning, this type of machine learning algorithm is trained on a set of labeled data. For an example, you might train a supervised learning algorithm to classify images of, let's say, apples. In my example, I have apples. So I'm going to use some known data. Known data means, let's say I'm going to use images of apples. And I'm going to feed those things into my system. Then my system knows, okay, these are apples. Let's say I'm feeding hundreds of thousands of millions of data, millions of images of apples. Then I'm labeling them as apples because I know they are apples. Once I train the system and after that I give a new data, let's say I am entering new image of an apple to the system, this system can identify this particular data, this particular image as an apple. So our new response is it is an apple. If I enter an image of a, let's say, orange, this system might say this is not an apple. This system can identify it as an orange, but it will identify it as not an apple. So that is supervised learning with known data, with labeled data. In contrast, we have unsupervised data. In unsupervised data, we are using a model. We are going to train our model with unlabeled data. Unlabeled data means we don't know exactly which is which. You can simply see this image now here. Here we have few fruits, let's say apples, mangoes, and some green fruit. So we enter these details to our model and we don't have any label. So we don't know which is apple, which is mango, likewise. But the system can identify patterns. That means all the apples it can identify as different group. And then these mangoes, they can identify it as a different group likewise. So the model is going to identify these patterns and they are going to group them together like this. Here we have apples, here we have mangoes, and here we have that green fruit likewise. So this is unsupervised learning and with unlabeled data. Right. The next one is reinforcement learning. This is actually the most interesting one that I love because this is something that we learn by trial and error. For an example, it's like training a kid. Kids, they don't know which is which or what to do. So likewise, we can train them by trial and error. For an example, we'll take the same apple. Examples of input is an apple. And we give the apple image to our system. And then we are going to give a response. We are going to give a response. Now this system is going to give like it's a mango. But is it a mango? No, it's an apple. So the response is mango, but we are giving the feedback as wrong. This is not a mango, this is an apple. So our feedback is apple. Then the system is going to learn the mistake. System is going to learn that, okay, this input is not a mango, this is an apple. Likewise, we are giving different inputs to the system and we are getting the response and we are giving our feedback. If it is an image of an apple and the response is apple, and we can give the feedback as, yes, it is an apple, likewise. So the system is going to get trained on these different types of inputs. And whenever we enter a new image of an apple, it is going to identify it as an apple. The response is going to be correct. So that is the third technique, right? Sorry. Now let's move on to our third topic, artificial intelligence. When it comes to AI, I'm not going to describe this one a lot because this is a very common thing. Most of the people know about this one. AI is actually, they have the ability. It has the ability of a machine to mimic human intelligence. And that includes actually the ability to learn and ability to reasoning and solve problems as well. And there are so many different types of artificial intelligence applications. Some of the most common ones include virtual assistants, self-driving cars or vehicles, medical diagnosis, then fraud detection, product recommendation, chatbots and robots, those kind of things. So you can simply read the slide and understand these things are like straightforward AI applications. Now the important topic, the relationship between these three technologies, relationship between data mining, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. This is what is very important for you guys. So data mining is actually a subset of machine learning. And machine learning, it is a subset of artificial intelligence. When it comes to artificial intelligence, it is kind of an umbrella term that we are using for all of these fields and applications. So I know this is a little bit confusing for you guys. So we'll identify all these things with an example. So this is my example. You can try out this one. Come up with your own answers and then we'll discuss how the answer can be. Right. So my example, my problem is there's a company and that company wants to predict which customers are likely to stop using their products or services. That means there are some customers and they are going to stop using their products and services. So the company wants to know who are going to do this and what products and services likewise. So how we are going to apply data mining, machine learning, and AI techniques to solve this problem. If we can't identify how to solve this problem using these three techniques, there's no point of learning this one because we'll have to know how to practically use these things. So say, take some time and write your answers and we'll see how it comes. Okay, right. I'll explain the answer a little bit now. So first we'll start off with data mining. So this company first uses data mining to extract patterns from the customer data. Now customer data is there, right? Because they have the customer data. Now for an example, if you go to Kills or Food City, they get your details, right? They get your contact number, they have your purchasing history likewise. So the company first going to use this data and they are going to use data mining techniques to extract patterns, right? For an example, they might look at the patterns in the customer's purchasing history, customers' demographics, customer behaviors, likewise. Then once we identify those things using data mining, we can apply machine learning techniques. So the company then can use these patterns, whatever the patterns we identified using data mining techniques, they can use those patterns and they can train machine learning algorithms to predict which customers are likely to stop using their products and services. I think it makes sense, right? You use data mining techniques to identify the patterns, and then you use those patterns to train your machine learning algorithm, right? So the machine learning algorithm is going to identify and learn those predictions, and they are going to like make predictions. They are going to identify, the algorithm learns those different types of patterns, and they are going to make predictions based on the patterns of our data, right? Then comes the AI part. What AI part does is the machine learning algorithm we can use it. Then we can use it to make predictions about the customers, like which customers are likely to stop using the company's products or services likewise. So this information can then be used to take actions to keep customers from leaving. For an example, let's say the company might send targeted emails to customers, or they can call the customers, or they can send messages to the customers who are likely to stop using the products and services. These emails or these phone calls might offer discounts or some incentives to keep customers using their products and services likewise. So that is how we are going to use these techniques to the marketing and business purposes. So this is just one example of how data mining, machine learning, and AI can be used together to solve a real-time problem, but you can use it for like so many areas, and so to solve so many complex problems. I use this one because this is a very simple, easy example, right? So as a conclusion, this data mining, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, they are all rapidly evolving fields. So in the future, these technologies are likely to be used in every ways to solve our real world problems. So I hope you get an idea on the technical aspect as well as business aspect of these three technologies. So I hope this lecture has given you a better understanding of the three technologies: data mining, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. From our next lectures, I think we can talk about these things in detail, in depth, and how to technically use these things. So I'm going to wind up the session for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.